and welcome to What's in the News for Leaders, the podcast that helps you make sense of what's happening in the world and what it means for your leadership. I'm your host, Endora Hinton, CEO of Willow North Growth Partners, and we are now into our season 4, which we are so excited about. Last time we were together, we talked to Kathy Sullivan, where we really focused on how to truly be a leader, and we also talked about her book. Just as a reminder, here on What's in the News, we cut through the noise to bring you bold insights, real conversations, and practical takeaways that really help you lead with clarity, connection, and purpose. Today, I am super excited about introducing our guest. Yes, not one guest, but two, because they are two people that I have partnered with in the past and that I think so very highly of. I think what they do is so powerful and so different and unique. And I just had to have them on our podcast. So I'd love to welcome my partners, Sarah Fillman and Jordan Hirsch. They are the co-founders of the Improv Mindset. And Jordan and Sarah, I am just so thrilled to be talking to you all today because it's just such an honor to partner with people like you all who bring a little bit of difference in play, which you all will learn about in just a moment. So Jordan and Sarah, can you just share a little bit about yourself and how you all came together?
Sure. Sarah, you want to take this one?
Yes. So, hello, podcast listeners. My name is Sarah Fillman, and I am a leadership and career coach, a team facilitator, and an improviser. And the cool thing is that Jordan here, who will introduce himself in a moment, can say the same.
Yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Jordan Hirsch. I am a leadership and presentation coach. I am also a team facilitator and a trainer and an improviser. And yeah, Sarah and I first started talking because we had so many things in common in our backgrounds. And it quickly became apparent we had a lot in common, too, in terms of the work we wanted to do going forward.
Yeah. And specifically, we both, having been improvisers, recognized that the power of improv goes way beyond the stage. So a lot of people take improv classes because they want to perform or entertain or for comedic purposes. But I think for both of us, recognizing that it offers a super powerful set of mindsets and skills and behaviors that serve you as a leader, no matter what seat you are being a leader in. Especially, Endora, building on what you said about Willow North's purpose, leading from connection, leading from purpose. Those are things that improvisers are great at, and we came together to bring that power to organizations and leaders and help them lead with those things in a really experiential, playful way.
Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining us. I would love for us to have just a quick conversation first, and then I would like to show our audience how this improv works. So I want to hear from you all on when we think about improv, because, as leaders, we probably have to improv on a regular basis, but not in the way that you all do. And this is just such a unique thing. So when you are doing this, what have you found to be the most surprising thing that you learned about leaders collaborating when they're focused on improv?
Ooh. First, can I just say, everyone is improvising, right? And maybe especially leaders, because everyone is coming to leaders and saying, well, what do we do next? And, leaders, for all the strategizing they do, they don't get a script for each day. They don't know how well the plans are going to match up to reality. And I think the big difference between how a leader improvises and how a trained improviser improvises is that we've had more practice successfully improvising in the moment, and it helps us feel confident doing that. Whereas I think the most surprising thing that I've found personally is how often leaders feel really nervous to try something like this in front of their teams. How often people who get up in front of a big company and give talks and set direction and lead strategy feel a little bit mortified at the prospect of being vulnerable, being off the cuff, making a mistake in front of the team, in front of their people.
Yeah, I will build on that, Jordan. I think whether it's nerves or somebody coming up to us beforehand saying like, I'm not good at thinking on the spot, I'm not creative. I think in these improv trainings, people realize that yes, they are creative, they are capable of thinking on the spot, but there's in regular life so many barriers that get in the way of making that happen. And so through our structured activities, we kind of peel away those barriers. And what you're left with is really creative people with the capacity to connect in really wonderful ways.
Yeah.
So we're not telling people how to be creative. We're helping remove the barriers that get in the way. And I think that surprises people because people have such identities around like, oh, I'm not a creative person or I'm not a quick thinker. And I think we help people challenge their own identities of themselves. And like Jordan said, give them a safe space to practice trying on new ways of leading.
Yeah. Leadership is an inherently, but leadership is a creative act. So to hear a leader say, I'm not creative, sounds so, it gets me every time that we hear it, because when you are leading, if you're doing a good job, you are leading people into something new, right? If you're treading over the same ground, you don't need leadership in the same way for that. You just need someone to tell you which direction to go.
Absolutely. That's a really great point, that leadership really is a creative act. I love what you all are saying around the fact that sometimes people are challenged being vulnerable. We hear that a lot. And you also, Sarah, you talked about on the spot, of doing things on the spot, which is something that I think is really, really important when it comes to leadership, because there's so many decisions that have to be made on the spot. So what kind of results have you seen with your work in doing improv? What kind of results have you seen people improving in that area of thinking on the spot, being able to communicate more effectively on the spot? What have you seen as results from this?
I can start with in the moment. In the sessions that we do, we've seen people go from these kind of closed off stances, maybe at the beginning of our time together, of let's say a 2-hour workshop, even kind of closed off, very nervous, very afraid, really, to do something wrong, to try something different in that way. And by the end of these sessions, these people their whole body language is changed, right? They're standing taller, they're moving their bodies around, they're getting up in the middle of a group of their peers and making silly sounds and doing a dance in the middle of a room until somebody tags them out to start the next one, in a way that seemingly would have been completely unavailable to them a few hours before. So sometimes the change we see is that rapid, it's that in the moment. And it's amazing. It's an amazing thing to behold. I know it's very.
That is amazing.
It's very validating.
I'm assuming it likely gives them more confidence because they're practicing it, which is a very key thing. Of practice helps us to. I always think about Daniel Pink's book Drive, where he talks about mastery. Like practice helps us to get to that mastery. So this is a perfect opportunity for practice.
Yeah, and Dora, confidence is exactly the word I was thinking of too. Of giving people the opportunity to practice it, that it's not that you are confident or that you aren't. Let's practice playing a game where even when you don't know the answer, you say something anyway. And how does that translate outside of the training? Well, you kind of learn that confidence doesn't mean having all the answers. A confident response as a leader can say, I don't know the answer, but together let's figure it out. Or like, what's the first thing we can try, and saying that with confidence. So as improvisers, you're kind of trained to just take a step. You don't have to have everything figured out. And I think leaders often feel pressure to have everything figured out. And so a lot of the mindsets that we teach help people have confidence to take a step forward, bring the ensemble of their team along with them, and move forward from there, accept that new reality after that first step has been taken, and make that next step.
Awesome. Jordan, did you have anything to add?
Yes, I think something else that we see sometimes is that the language that we leave people with can be a big game changer for them in terms of actually putting this stuff into practice. We've had people say, I've spoken to people months after they've worked with us, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, in my staff meeting the other day, I was asking someone like, hey, can you really yes and me right now? Like, that's what I need in this moment. Right? Yes and being one of those core improv concepts. And it's not just teaching people the skills and the strategies, but when you leave them with this language, they have a new tool they can kind of take and start spreading throughout an organization. And that language really impacts how people work together. It really gives them ways to kind of remind each other, like, hey, this is that thing that we learned. Right? When we have a simple name for it, it lets people start bringing it more and more into their everyday work.
Yes. I tell you, I love the concept of yes and when people say it, I have a lot of people in my circle of clients and participants who say it, and I wonder sometimes, have they been through improv? But it really is. I think it can be collaborative because it's saying to the other person that I hear what you're saying, and here's also another thought. So we're going to actually practice this in a minute, but before we do, I want to show the audience a little bit about what you do. But before we do that, talk to me a little bit about the process. So just for people who don't really understand what improv is as it pertains to coming into the workplace, talk to us a little bit about what does that look like? They're going to see an example in a moment, but just kind of explain, what does that even look like in the workplace?
When we bring trainings into a group. So to paint the scene, we offer kind of invitations to structured games like the one that we'll do with you, Andor, in a moment. We do a lot of activities in pairs, small groups, in a circle that have deceptively simple rules. And I love the way Jordan's put it. He put it at a recent training, like, these are like ankle weights. So for example, we might have you have a conversation with a partner, but we're going to put some ankle weights on that conversation and tell you that in that conversation, do something specific. So you're effectively improvising that conversation. Yeah. And we talk about the impact of those ankle weights and then say, okay, if we take off these ankle weights now it feels easier and you have more capacity there. So in our workshops, we are, depending on the theme, we are identifying a handful of strategies or skills from the world of improv. We're doing these activities that let participants experience the thing.
Yeah.
And then we talk about it. We say, what was that experience like? I mean, these are games that people have probably never played before. So it's an opportunity in itself to practice being kind of agile and open. And then we talk about it and talk explicitly about the connections. Now, when people come to an improv workshop in the workplace, they are scared they are going to have to perform, act, be a character, be put on stage, be funny, be clever, fast, unique. We basically, at the very top, give them permission to be none of those things and assure them that this isn't about performing for each other. This is really about using the skills, mindsets, and behaviors of improv to practice communicating and collaborating in unique ways. So we tried to calm the nerves right away.
Yes. Well, and I just to share with my audience, the reason that I met Sarah and Jordan, well, I met Jordan through another friend and colleague of mine. But then I joined one of their virtual workshops and it was phenomenal. I was totally sold the first time, probably the first 5 minutes. I was like, yes, this is exactly what we need. Because it's just such a different, you said it, Sarah, the word experience. This is an experience. And, we work really hard to create experiences for our clients. But it's so great to partner with people like the two of you that just brings another experience that helps to elevate what we're already doing.